Hanggang 6 lang talaga ako sa writing, task 1, sir. Task 1, task 2, 6.
May improve niyo yan dito, ma'am.
Nandito na si Sir DJ. Ewan ko na lang, ma'am, kung din po mag-improve yan. Okay, we're live now on Facebook.
Ma'am, nag-enroll ako sa writing English.
Okay, so good evening. Welcome to IFNG Live. So, Mr. M.
Good evening from the Philippines and good afternoon, Middle East. And we're back once more here at IELTS Filipino Nurses. And tonight, we have another lecture from the expert from World English Reviews Center, Mr. Lee J. Desus. Sir Lee J.
Hi, good evening, Sir Lee J.
Good evening. Good evening po. Thank you for having me here. Ako na ba? So, wala nang opening.
Yes, sir.
Walang opening prayer.
Nasobrahan na, Sir DJ. Nasobrahan na sa
ba?
prayer. Opo.
Puro dasal, no? Sige, let's just admit the other people waiting. There you go. Okay, thank you very much. So, magandang gabi po. Good evening to people from the Philippines and also from the professionals from other parts of the world. Okay, congratulations for making time tonight. Okay, for your future, because IELTS will actually open doors for you. So let me share my screen to get things started. Okay, there you go. So welcome to the free IELTS lecture. Okay, from World English Reviews. I'm your speaker for today. Okay, BJ De Jesus. This review center is composed of CELTA certified Band 9 educators and with training also from British Council and ID. I've been attending training sessions with both organizations for the past 16 years, so I think I'll be able to help you out with your problems. Okay, so tonight's topic is all about writing task 1, or as it's officially called, it's report writing. So a few rules for our session for tonight. So please don't hesitate to ask. Type your questions in the chat box or in the comment box. Okay, for those people on social media, just type it and our moderators will relay your questions to me. Okay, and we will be having Q&A sessions. Okay, we will be having a Q&A session at the later part of the presentation, but you know what? I actually appreciate questions, so feel free to ask anytime. Okay, enjoy the seminar. Don't hesitate to ask while it's free. Okay, and for those people who would like some more information about my review center's programs, okay, we will be also be providing you with information later. So don't worry, all the questions will be answered. I am your speaker for today. My name is DJ De Jesus. I started teaching in 2005. So I teach IELTS, OET, general English subjects, civil service preparation. I'm about to start teaching CELPIP and CALE in a few weeks. Okay, I'm doing some refresher training. I got an overall score of 9 in the IELTS test, even though I'm Filipino. Okay, I'm also civil service eligible, and I have a CELTA certification, so the Cambridge Certificate in English Language Teaching to Adults. And as I said, I got 9. Even though I don't have a British or American accent. Okay, and my eyes are brown or black, I don't know, dark brown. My hair is black, not blonde. It is possible, guys, with a little bit of preparation. Okay, and here is my teammate Barry, and I think he conducts like free sessions with your group every Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. So let's talk about writing task 1. Okay, so guys, this is for the academic module, right? There might be, if there are attendees, okay, who are about to take the general training, this is not, unfortunately, this isn't the forum for you, because this is focused on the academic. It's because this is what's required for nurses, okay, for other professionals in all of the countries involved. If you are required to, well, if your application is just for immigration, okay, or if it's for skill, you're gonna take GT. So I won't be discussing that tonight, and this one is for professionals only. Oh, Q&A na. All right. So let me move on to the topic. So writing task one. Let's talk about writing task one. Another presentation for you. Here we go. Writing. Go. Okay, so first let's have a general overview of the writing test. The writing exam usually happens in the morning if you're taking the paper-based test. Okay, at around 11 a.m. You'll be given 60 minutes total to finish it. And there are two tasks to complete. Okay, task one and task two. So task one for academic. For GT, it's a letter. You are required to write a minimum of 100 for writing task one, and the suggested time is 20 minutes. For task two, you're supposed to write an essay. Okay, and the minimum word count is 250. Suggested time is 40 minutes. Now, are there any penalties if you don't reach the minimum? Yes, there are. IELTS is quite strict with the word count. Okay, so make sure that you write at least 150 for task one and at least 250 for task two. How about maximums? Good news. There's no maximum. If you want to write 4,000 words, you can technically do that. However, it's actually not a good idea. Okay, because the more you write, the more mistakes you will make. That's the first reason. Second reason is you won't have time to finish that. Okay, because you only have a total of 1 hour. If you ask me what's the best number to aim for task one, probably about 170 to 180, and then for task two, about 270 to 280. Why? Studies show that these are the word counts that get you the highest scores. Most people who get 7, 8, 9, okay, they write between for task two, 270 to 280, and for task one, 170 to 180. Now, take a look at the time limits. Okay, 20 minutes for task one and 40 minutes for task two. Actually, I think I need to clarify this one because in the test, they will give you both tasks at the same time. Okay, so task one and task two, both test papers at the same time. It will be up to you how you want to manage your time. These are only suggestions. In fact, if you want to, if you want to use 30 minutes for task one and only 30 minutes for task two, technically, you can do that. However, is that a good idea? Not really. Okay? Why? Because when they compute your score, task one will only give you 33%. The remaining 67% will come from writing task two. So it's not a good idea to invest so much time in something that will only give you 1/3 of the score. So what's the technique? You don't need to write a masterpiece for writing task one. Right? You don't need to write something that's very, very nice for task one because all you need is the minimum. Okay, just finish it as quickly as you can. If you can finish task one faster than 20 minutes, if you can do it in 18 or 17 minutes, that would be wonderful because you will have more time for writing task two because task two is 67%. Okay, so how do they grade you for both types of tasks? Okay, they have the same grading criteria. So 25% comes from task achievement. So did you do what they're asking you to do? For task one, what are they asking you to do? They will ask you to summarize. They will ask you to describe the most relevant points. Okay, they will ask you, to notice, to report trends and support them with details. That's what. Okay. The next end comes from cohesion. This simply means organization. So being organized. Is it easy to follow? If yes, congratulations, you will get a pretty good score. If no, then you have time to work on it. That's the good news. The 25 from lexical resource now. Some people are intimidated, but it simply means vocabulary. Okay, so are you using words for the topic? Just a warning though. I've been teaching for 16 years and I noticed that people they get carried when it comes to lexical resource. Okay. Sometimes they start using difficult words. Okay, so many combinations that it's hard to understand what they're trying to say. Please remember, the point of all of these tests, speaking, writing, listening, reading, is actually to test your communication skills. If the other has a difficult time understanding your speaking or understanding, okay, then you're gonna get a low score even though you high level terms. So please, I worry too much about lexical resource. Okay? Because vocabulary is graded, okay, the sentence level. It won't give you highs you used a lot of long words. Okay, they take a look at how you use the words in appropriate. Are they accurate? That's what's important. Okay? So like so teaching you a lot of map related. Okay? And finally, okay, it's only 25% scores. So congratulations. People are afraid of this. Hindi ako sa grammar, sir. Or my grammar is not perfect. Of course, nobody's perfect. Okay. The good news is one or two mistakes you can technically line in grammar. Okay. And I think, in my professional opinion, all you need to do to get a high, we focus on, or maybe even three common mistakes. You don't need to go to university and study right here. Hindi naman po. You just need to zero in what kind of grammatical errors do you make? Okay, what kind of errors do you every time you have an interview or every time that your or checks your writing? What do they always comment on? Okay, so you have to isolate that so that you can focus. Because if you want to study, everything about it, it's gonna take years, honestly. Okay, and you don't have years. I mean, you have jobs, you have families, you have lives. Okay, and a 9, right? You want is a 7 lang. 7 lang naman target ninyo. That's a okay. By the way, piece of what do you call this? Interest for the most common score in the world, okay, is 7. Okay, 6 has achieved coherence and cohesion, and 7 accuracy. The last time I read the stats from 20, maybe 1/4. Okay, so a quarter, 1 out of every 4 IELTS gets 6.5. 6 that's achievement, coherence and cohesion, and then the remaining 7. Okay, just to give you a clear happening. Ayan. Now let's talk about writing task 1. Let me stop this. So, sorry, I got ako si Mr. Tulfo dito sa screen. Picture. For the most complex among the tasks. Look at it. Okay, there are actually 5 things in the IELTS says. They always tell you it's for like listening, reading, writing, speaking. But it's actually 5 because writing task 1 and writing actually they're totally different from each other. Okay, they're different from each other. What you need to do is very different. And the thing is, it takes a long time to learn academic compared to the other subtests. Why? There's so many charts that they can give that it in one session. Okay. Why am I saying this? I've watched some review centers that try to cover writing task on everything in about 3 hours. Now that it's probably that because there's so much to learn. In fact, if you ask me, the perfect to teach writing task one would be about 12 hours. Okay, so 3 hours to learn about flowcharts, 3 hours to learn about maps, 3 hours to learn about dynamic charts, okay, and 3 hours to learn about static charts. Okay, are you writing this down? There are four main classifications. There are four main classifications, right? Static charts. Static charts would include your pie charts, your bar graphs, and your tables. And then you have your dynamic charts. So what are these? Pie charts, line graphs, bar graphs, tables. Okay. Then you have flow charts. So these are diagrams, drawings of a process, how something works. It's composed of several stages. And finally, you have maps. For tonight, I'd like to focus on one of the least discussed types of charts for writing task one. It's the maps. So okay lang ba sa inyo yan? Or would you like me to discuss the other the other types of charts? I rarely see very good discussions about maps. That's why I decided to zero in on that. So let me show you an example. If you have questions, by the way, type lang lang tayo. Okay. So here you go. Let's have a look at this one first. Okay, I think we need to discuss do something else. This one is more official. There you go. So here, I have a sample of a typical task. By the way, I'm getting these from my book. Okay, I have a book on writing task one. There you go. Let's zoom out a little bit. Okay. So let me have a read through. It says, writing task one, you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. The maps below show the village of Stockport in 1930 and 2010. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. Now, during the exam, I want you to ignore a few things. Okay, ignore the part here. Okay, I'm drawing on the screen. Just cross that out, and then ignore that. Why? Because they're always like that. That's standard. Okay, you only focus on reading this one, so you can maximize your time. Okay. Also, you can just ignore this one. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting features and make comparisons where relevant. And you can ignore, write at least 150 words. So during the test, when you get your paper, okay, don't waste your time reading. Say maybe a minute. Okay, just read the chart. Right? After doing that, directly to the chart. The chart. Let me just mute everyone. Oh. So let's focus on the chart now. I hope I see it. If it's too small, please tell me. Okay, so I can make some adjustments. Okay, okay naman ba? Do you want me to zoom in or is this viewable already? All right. So look at the two charts. So what if this comes out in your test? Would you be confident that you can write 150 words on this? Mhm. Okay, so it's viewable. Thank you for the feedback. All right. So it might be intimidating for some of us, especially because it would be the first time that a lot of people would be doing this. I'm trying to recall if I did something similar to this back in college. I don't think most of us it's the first time, no, when we take this type of this type of task. Yeah. So some general advice. Okay. How many paragraphs should you be writing for this one? The most logical is 3 paragraphs. Okay, the first paragraph would be your introduction and your overview. Typically, that's just 2 sentences. Okay, and then maybe you can write 1 paragraph about Stokeford in 1930. And then the third paragraph would be a description of Stokeford in 2010. That's how I would approach this one. Okay. Please notice that they give you, okay, an indicator of direction here. There you go. The 4 cardinal directions: north, east, west, and south. So it's very important that you include these in your descriptions. Okay, because I've checked some papers, I've seen some candidates who try to describe the map, okay, without using these directions. Guys, it's very important that you use these because it's a map. You need to use topic related vocabulary. So don't just say to the left, to the right, okay, and at the top, at the bottom. No, okay, it's much better to use northeast, west, south. You can use words like southern, southeastern, okay, to the southwest, to the southeast, because they are related to the topic, and you will get a higher score in lexical resource because of that. Okay, so encircle them right away so that you don't forget. Okay, next, you should have some sort of system, okay, when describing these places. So what I do is I get my pencil and I actually draw. I actually draw on the chart. So please don't hesitate to draw on your test paper. Okay, go ahead and do it. So where would be a good place to begin? Okay, so I'm gonna use some arrows. I'm probably gonna start with this part. Okay, I'm gonna start describing the river. Then I'm gonna describe. I'm gonna talk about the bridge, and then I'm gonna talk about the main road here. Okay, and the nice thing about the main road is it divides the town into 2 halves. So you have, okay, the eastern half and the western half. Okay, so you only need to, after describing the road, you need to describe the features here, okay, on the right or on the east, and then the features here on. And we do the same thing when I talk about, sorry, when I write my second paragraph. Okay, so I think it would be better if I just show it to you instead of talking about it. So I'm gonna write a report for you live, right? Okay, another way to mark your map, by the way, okay, is to just use text. So sometimes I just number them. There are many techniques you can apply. So I start here, that's number 1. Then I mentioned the bridge, number 2. Then I mentioned the road, number 3. Then mentioned the farmland, the gardens, the house, and then number 5 here and 6. You can also do numbering, okay? Oh, here's a question from who's this? From Mom Share Pass. Would it be wrong if the introduction and overview were written separately? No, not really. You know, you can write the intro and the overview in 1 paragraph. You can also separate them if you want. Okay, but I just got used to writing them together because that's what they taught us when I first trained with British Council a long time ago. But you can use either technique and it would be fine. Okay, there will be no penalty. Okay, so here you go. So I'm gonna share my whole screen now so you can see my outputs. Um, there's that. Okay, here you go. You can take screenshots if you like. Okay, and I can also send the sample outputs to your moderators. Okay, and if they can, you can post it on your Facebook group after our discussion. Yeah. So I'm gonna write like, oh, please tell me. Next. So I usually write 2 sentences for my first paragraph. So it's my intro, okay, and my overview. Right. Okay, maybe 3 to 4 sentences for the first 4 sentences for the second map. Then I will also list sentences for you. 3 to 4 sentences. Okay. 3 to 4 sentences. An intro and overview, and just 2 sentences for this 2 sentences. Okay. So how to write the introduction? I think this is the easiest part. Just to take the chart description here. Okay, need to be fancy about it. Just because I don't know, IELTS is very that there are other tests that will actually allow you, but for IELTS they want you to show off. Okay, so it's very, I always use the word illustration format. So okay, and instead of using shows or show, you can use presents, reveals. Okay, the illustration reveal two of them, right? So let's use the plural. So the illustrations reveal, okay, instead of the village of Stokeford, you can layout of Stokeford, it's right, or is it a town? It didn't say. Stokeford Village. In 1930 and writing 2010, maybe we can paraphrase. Maybe you can say how many years later? 80 years and 80 years later. Okay, and then the overview. How do you write the overview? You can start with indicator words like clearly, overall, in general. It can be observed. It can be observed. Can be observed. What? Now, this is the most challenging part. You write the overview. This is to teach people because you will need some major analytical skills to do. Okay, I see people, talking a big part of the town when they write the overview. No, when they say overview, you're looking for a general pattern. Okay, you're trying to write a sentence that will describe what now, not only a small part of it. Okay, sometimes it can be really challenging to do that. Okay, but the good news is, I found some apps over the years, okay, and I just usually employ 2 techniques to state the. One of the techniques that I take a look at the classification of the land. Okay, there are 4 major classifications, right? So rural land, it's more of it's for animals or farming. You have residential places for. Then you can also classify land as commercial if it's mostly shops and business. If you see a lot of factories and industries, you can call it industry. Okay. So dear audience, would you classify Stockford in 1930? Do you think industrial, agricultural, or residential? Okay, type your answers in this box or in the chat. See. Let's see. Agri, resi, commercial, or industrial? Okay, some people are saying yeah, because you see 2 big pieces of farmland there, no? Okay, in the northeast and in the southwest. Okay, agricultural. Okay, so do we all agree that it's agricultural? But there are some shops, a post office, a primary school also, and a large house. Mhm. So maybe it's a combination of the two, right? So it can be observed that eh, that in the early years, okay, the village, okay, was mostly um, residential and agricultural land. Okay, but what happened? How about in 2010? Did it change classifications? What's the major change that happened there? What's missing, guys? What do you see? Mhm. So do you notice that the farmlands actually disappeared? Okay, no more farmlands in 2010. Wala na. Okay, what were they replaced with? Mhm. Were they replaced with factories or with shops or with residences? Ah, okay. Okay. So it can be observed that in the early years, the village was mostly residential and agricultural, but okay, but after 8 decades, okay, it should be spelled out. But after 8 decades, it became uh, mostly residential. There you go. Would I call it commercial? Not really, because I don't see a lot of shops here. Okay, if you take a look at the legend, the small rectangular boxes that you see there are actually houses. Okay, yeah, the farmland was bought up, taken over. Okay, it was bought by the Villiers and turned into a Camellia Homes. Parang ganon yung nangyari. Okay, so that's one example of paragraph 1. Let me show you an alternative so that you have choices. Okay, so let's call this version A. Guys, a piece of advice: when you practice, huwag niyong tipirin, no? Don't be stingy. Why don't you try to write 2 introductions? Because it's only 2 sentences. It would make you become a better writer. Remember, the key to learning anything is repetition. Okay, so let's have another version. So instead of the illustrations, you can say the figures. Okay, present the village of Stockford. Okay, the village of Stockford, okay, in 1930, and instead of 80 years, you can say decades, because that's a nice word to use. And 8 decades, and 8 decades after. There. So marami naman palang choices. Okay. It can be seen, it can be observed, okay, clearly, in general. Okay, so many words you can use. It can be seen, okay, that this place, okay, started out as a combination, okay, residential, as a combination residential dash agricultural area, but after many years, it became purely, oh, that's a nice term, right? Purely residential. There you go. So you can use either one, no problema. Now, before moving on to the next paragraph, okay, I think you need to count how many sentences you've written and how many words also. So the first version, I was able to write 2 sentences and 39 words, which is a good number. Okay, so a good number for the first paragraph would be around 35, maybe upper limit of 50 words. Okay, if you write 50, that's already one third of what you're supposed to write. Okay, the second version also 2 sentences, and it's a bit shorter, 35 words only. So 2-35. I'm very mechanical when I write. Okay, writing task to writing task one. I like applying numbers because it makes everything easier for me. I know that a lot of you, okay, you're not like this when you write. I know a lot of clients who just keep on writing until they finish their task one or their task two, and then that's when they start counting. I think that's the wrong way to proceed. Okay, honestly, and to be direct with you, I think it's much better. Okay, if you already know the number of sentences and the number of words before you even proceed to the next paragraph, because it will inform you. Okay, it will help you decide if you need to write more, if you need to be more descriptive, or if you can actually write faster. Okay, let me just remind you, task one will only give you 33% of your score. Okay, so for those people who are targeting 7, if you get 7 in task one, but only 6.5 for task two, that's only 6.5, and you don't want that. However, if you get 6.5 for task one and 7 in task two, your final score is 7. Okay, so nagagets nyo ba? You understand what I'm trying to say here? You need to invest your time and your effort properly. Okay, don't invest it in something that will give you only, a little bit of, a little return. Okay, focus on the big returns. Ganun po yan, just like in life. So anyway, let's proceed to paragraph 2. And I have some little tricks here. Okay, I always start my paragraph 2 with the year in most charts. It doesn't matter if I'm, describing the pie chart, line graph, bar graph, okay, or even, and even these maps. Okay, I always start with the year. So in 1930, it's nice to have little patterns to follow. It makes your job, okay, a little bit easier. Okay, and then I always start my third paragraph with on the other hand, or sometimes meanwhile. It depends if I need, more words. Yan. So may may patterns na agad tayo. Patterns to follow. Makes your job easier. There you go. So let's start with the first chart in 1930. Okay, or in the 1930 map. Okay, if you want to, if you want to increase your word count. Okay, it's a kind of hack. Yan. Hacking the IELTS test. So in the 1930 map, okay, the reverse talk, okay, can be seen running from, and now you start using directions. Okay, so where did the river start from? Okay, it's in the southwest. Okay, to make it easier to follow, let me label things for you. So you have north, okay, then you have south here at the bottom. Then here you have the east and the west. Yeah. I think you should actually do this during your test. Okay? If you're taking the paper-based test, it's possible to do this. This is going to be difficult if you're taking the computer-based test. Okay, so this is the northeast. Then you have the northwest. Then you have southwest and southeast. Okay, if you do this, you will actually save time and you will avoid getting confused. I've checked papers that were all confused about the directions. Why? Because the student or the candidate didn't write these directions in. They just relied on their brains, which are actually unreliable. Okay. So anyway, let's continue. So the river Stoke can be seen running from the southwest to the to the northeast. Yeah. And then what's the next thing that we should describe? The bridge. You have a question here? Okay, so shout out now. So hello to our 136 FB Live viewers and 26 Zoom participants. All right, daming nanonood. Daming matututo. So many people will pass their IELTS test. From the southwest to the northeast, okay? And then I think we should describe the bridge to the north, right? Because that's the next logical step. If it helps, now maybe you can imagine that you're, instead of just looking at the map, I want you to imagine that you're actually there visiting the village. Okay, and maybe you're walking or riding a bike. Okay, in that way, you just need to describe whatever you encounter next. So, if you bike along the river Stoke, the meandering river Stoke, okay, eventually you'll get to the bridge, and then you'll see the road. So there would be a logical progression. Okay, from the southwest to the northeast. A bridge. Okay, a bridge spans the river. Yeah, to spans the river in the north. There you go. Now, I have a short sentence. A bridge spans the river in the north. Okay, is it a good idea to write a lot of short sentences? No, because when they grade your grammar, they look at the complexity of sentences. So if there's a way that you can combine a short sentence with another, it's much better for your grammar score. So can we just combine this with something? Okay, I'm then let's choose. If we combine the short sentence with the next sentence, okay? So let's describe the road next. Okay, the main road. Okay, the main road divide. The road runs through the center of the map. Okay, dividing the into an eastern and a western portion. Okay, maybe you can call it half kasi pohati. Okay, the main road runs through the center of the map, dividing the village in western. If you want to increase your vocabulary score, maybe we can replace dividing because that's quite basic. Maybe we can, can we use bisecting? Bisecting the village into an eastern and western half. By means two. To sect is to divide. So bisect, cut it into two. Pwede. Okay. So instead of band 7 with dividing, now you have a band 9 with bisecting. Okay, so let me get back to my previous point. A bridge spans the river in the north. So I think it's better to combine it with the previous sentence, right? Here's a question from Abigail. Consecutive directions. New thing report. No, you can start in any direction. Okay, you can start in any direction. The trick here is finding a good pattern to follow. Okay, if you just log in, following. Okay, and then this one, then I'm gonna describe things to the east and things to the west because it's logical that way. Start it from another direction, yeah, no problem. Okay, but I've just done a lot of analysis on this chart already. So anyway, other questions? Break down or segregate. I think bisecting would be better choices just for this map. Okay, of what you're describing. You can definitely or other situations or other maps. Okay, let's continue. Checking the village into a map, then I'm just first and the second sentences so that I don't have a short sentence there. The 1930 map, the river is running from the southwest to the northeast, comma, and there you go with a simple comma and a bridge spans the river in the north. Now, found complex sentence. Okay. I told you like 3 sentences, right? So do you think it's possible? Sir, there's so much to describe there, and you only have 2 sentences left. Is it possible? It's not that hard. Okay. Side. Okay. And the eastern and the western. On the eastern side are okay. Sorry. Is a large farmland. Let me just mute you. There you go. On the eastern side is a large farmland. Then what's next? A primary school. And then what? Oh, and a large house. Is there another term for large house? Can you think for large house? What else can we call it? Let's take a look at your suggestions. Nice, a mansion. Let's use that one. Okay. And a mansion, that's nice. With gardens. What kind of gardens? These are probably formal gardens. Again, and a mansion with a formal garden. Ayun, tapos na. Okay. That because you don't need one sentence for each one of these features. Okay, you can actually describe them in groups. And the nice thing is, it's easy to follow. I just follow the from north to south. So on the eastern side, moving something better, moving southwards. There you go, much better sentence. Meanwhile, or on the opposite side, so that means opposite of east, so west. On the opposite road are our shops. What else? Post office and a post and another large area of farmland. There you go. Tapos na. Okay. See, so we were able to write everything about that map in 4 sentences. The next step is to count. So many words, 4 sentences, and 84 words, 4-84. Before proceeding to the paragraph, you do a count. Okay, you do some accounting. So do you need to, or can you just go through it quick? So choose the shorter introduction. 35 plus 84 is how many? That's 100 and that's 19. Let's say 120. So how many more words do we need? 30. Okay. I mean, that's just 2 sentences. Okay. Write paragraph 3. Now, when you write the 3rd paragraph, you don't need to write everything. Okay. You can actually get away with maybe just 3 sentences for this one. Why? Usually in the 3rd paragraph, the changes that happen. So you don't need to mention the river anymore and the bridge and the main road. Okay. Why? Because they didn't change. It's still the same. So it's going to be easier. So on the other hand, now since I'm not desperate for the word count, I don't actually need 4 words. I can say meanwhile or later on or after 8 decades or later on what after 80 years in 2010. Okay, maybe we'll do that. So in 2010. Okay, what happened here? So skip the river, skip the bridge, skip the main road also. Okay, what I notice here is there are now a lot of side roads. Okay, lined up with houses. The post office is still there. The primary school, oh, the primary school was expanded. Okay, it has two smaller wings now, or annexes. And then the large mansion became a retirement home. It was also expanded, and then they had to sell part of the land now because there are now houses in the former gardens, and then no more farmlands. Okay, I just need to mention those things. Okay, and then just use a system. So in 2010, okay, most noticeable change. 2010, the farmlands. Okay, the farmlands have disappeared and have been replaced by numerous, because by numerous, maybe not that much, by side road, smaller roads, and numerous residences. There you go. So residential na po siya. Side roads and numerous houses. Period. So we're done with the farmland. Okay. Now I'm gonna talk about the primary school. The school, or the primary school. School was expanded. Okay, to accommodate the growing number of school children, or of children. The school was expanded. Two more wings. Two. What would be a good description here? Children, by adding smaller to access. There you go. Annex by annexes. And then finally, so you start your last sentence with finally or lastly, just to give the examiner an idea that you're already finishing. Sir, do we need to write a conclusion for writing task 1? No, you need a conclusion for the essay. Okay, intro, body, conclusion. Task 1 is a bit different. Okay, task 1 is just intro, overview, and then you can actually finish with the body paragraph, the second body paragraph. Okay, so start with finally or lastly. Yes, April, I was about to get there. We're gonna do some checks. Okay, finally. Okay, retirement home. The mansion was converted. The mansion was converted, okay, to a retirement home, or a retirement facility, if you want to paraphrase. While the land, okay, while the real estate, instead of land, while the real estate containing the gardens, okay, was also converted to residential buildings, or to residences. There you go. Okay, now do I need to count this? Remember, we only needed like 30 words, right? Okay, so kailangan pa bang bilangin ko? Not really, because I'm pretty confident that we reach 30 words. Instead of wasting your time counting, you can just focus on checking the grammar, the vocabulary, maybe the legibility of your handwriting, or you can go directly to task 2 because that will save your time. Is it okay to use a word twice? Yes, Loida. Okay. Because sometimes, yes, Loida. Okay, it's actually okay to use a word twice, especially if it's already the best word. Okay, and if it's the easiest one to understand. Okay, but maybe not within the same paragraph. If they're in separate paragraphs, that's safe. Okay, so things to check for. Okay, so what do you look for? First of all, okay, syempre word count. That's very important. But the next thing is take a look if you use any informal words such as contractions. Okay, so what are contractions? Shouldn't, wouldn't, couldn't, doesn't, wasn't. Okay, if you have any of those, kunwari, if you wrote wasn't, you turn it to was not. Okay, because contractions, okay, they're counted as one word, so lugi ka. If you wrote did not, that's two words. If you write didn't, that's only counted as one. Secondly, these are considered informal. So if you use too many of them, it will pull down your score for lexical resource, maybe down to a 6 or even a 5. Okay, so you don't want that. So I don't think I did that. Did I? Let's have a quick check. So I think I didn't. If you see any, please inform me, right? This is live writing. Secondly, you should always check your tenses. Okay, so did you use the correct tense? And this is actually a very, very common problem among candidates. In fact, I even teach my students, okay, to write something on the paper to remind themselves of which tense to use. And it's easy. Look here. This one is in 2010, right? This one is in 1930. So in general, you should be using the past tense. So just write on the chart, past, in big capital letters. Okay, is it important to do this? Yes, because you will have some maps that will put the date 2050 or 100 years from now. Okay, so you do this one. So does it mean that all of your verbs should be in the past tense? No, it depends. It still depends. That's an oversimplification of it. Okay, it's a general rule, but there are exceptions, of course. So I'm gonna have a run through of the body paragraph. So in the 1930 map, the river Stoke can be seen running from the southwest to the northeast. So should we change the tense for this one? Lagay nyo. Well, I don't think so. Why? Because this is something constant. Okay, so it was there in 1930. It's still there in 2010, probably still there up to now because this is a land feature. Land features, they almost never change, except when you look at it from thousands of years, maybe. That's why I'm using the present tense because it's something almost permanent. Okay. Diba, how do you use the present tense? If you're talking about something that happens every day, something that happens habitually, you use the present tense. Okay, so the main road runs through the center of the map. I also use the present here because again, it's something that doesn't change. It's permanent. Okay. On the eastern side, moving southwards. Now, this one we need to change. Dapat was, because these are not, these things change. Nagbago sila. So was a large farmland, a primary school, and a mansion with a formal garden. On the opposite side of the road, okay, this one, workshops, a post office, and another large area of farmland there. You know what gets to a higher score, to an 8 or to a 9? It's the amount of time you, okay? You know what, if you invest just a little bit of your time checking, and if you can correct like 3 or 4 of your errors, it might lead, it might already lead to an increase in your score. Okay, so check nyo kahit mabilis lang. That's why you shouldn't use all of your time for writing. Okay, if you have 2 or 3 minutes, mas right? Next. The farmlands have the past tense and have been replaced by side roads and school was expanded, past tense pa rin, by the growing number of children, or the mansion was converted. Converted. Converted and converted. Maybe we should replace that. Somebody okay to use a word twice. In some cases, yes, unless have options. So I think converted is an easy word to paraphrase. So let's think of other words that we can use. Any suggestions? Converted, converted. Transformed. Is it appropriate to say that? Let's see your suggestions. Turned into. Okay. It's a bit less formal. Okay, turned into. Pwede na in a pinch. But if you have something else, tignan pa natin. So turned into, upgraded. When you upgrade something, it means you made it better. Okay. So maybe if you expanded the building or you made it more high tech or you put in safety features or if you enlarge it, then it would be an upgrade. But from a house to a retirement home, upgraded, maybe it's not really an upgrade because it's totally different. Okay, modified, transformed, these are good words also. I'm gonna give you something else. Okay, how about this one? Instead, the mansion was converted to a retirement facility. How about repurposed? Have you encountered the word before? So nag-iba siya ng gamit. Nag-iba siya ng purpose. Okay, so that's a nice one, repurpose, and it's not very common. So the examiner will definitely notice it when you use this one. Okay. Secondly, somebody mentioned the mansion. There, mention, and then the next mention was in another paragraph. That's okay. Ano naman separate paragraphs. Okay, it's actually better to use mention instead of saying large house because it's easier to follow. No, the reader would readily know what you're referring to. Kasi pag sinabi mo the large house, they might get confused. Mansion na ginamit natin. So it's better for referencing purposes, right? So that's it. Okay, that's my sample report. So if you want to take a screenshot, there you go. Please take note, you don't need to write 2 introductions. I'm just doing this for, just to show you and for practice purposes. So sige po, take a screenshot. I'm gonna save that. And we're gonna move on to another one. So I'm hoping to finish as many as I can for you tonight. Maybe we have time for 2 more. Okay na? Okay na? We done? Okay, let's move on to another map. Let's select. Okay, I have a couple here. That's nice. This is Lakeside. Okay, this is a bit different because it's actually what? More of an architectural drawing. That's what they call it. And this one also. So daming map. So anyway, let me quickly discuss a few of them with you. Okay. So let's focus on this one. So it doesn't have an intro, okay? Because you can actually write that yourself. Okay, but let's take a look at the map. So the name is Lakeside. The first map is in year 2000. The second one is in 2000. Almost 10 years later, almost a decade later. And then we have an indicator of direction here. So, okay, north is upwards. So that means downwards is south. To your right is west. And again, you can actually mark your, you can actually draw on the map. Okay, NEWS. You also mark northeast, northwest, east, west. What else can we do here? Come at Lakeside in year 2000. Okay, which did you mention first? Let's see if you learned something from the previous lecture. So which spot would be the most logical place to start? Do we start with the school or the art center? Do we start with the warehouse or the lake? So anyway, still thinking? Right. So I would personally, I would probably start either with the river, like that. Okay, or you can also do the reverse or from the lake, the river. Okay, I like the lake. Why? Because it's easy to discuss why. It's in the northeast, yung lake. So can you imagine it? In 2000, okay, or the map shows that in 2000, in the year 2000, can be seen in the map that there was there was a big lake in the northeast. Okay, and then there was a river running from the lake down to the southwest. Yeah, so I like it because this. So the lake is in the northeast. Tapos yung dulo ng river would be into to the southwest. Yeah. And then what? So now the map is divided into two. Okay? It's divided into the northern half and the southern half. So madali na. Do you get it? So then you can start describing things here, okay, to the north, and then you end with the things here to the south. Okay, and then the same thing when you describe, when you talk about paragraph 3, just focus on the differences. Ganun din po. Okay, so you should have some sort of pattern when describing. Okay, so if you want to use the number method, so mention the lake first, and then you mention the river, and then you mention all of these areas here. That's number 3, and then you end with number 4. Same thing here. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, piece of advice: don't be intimidated with all of those buildings, like the derelict warehouse, the residential area, because you don't need to. You don't need to describe them in detail. You can actually put them together in one sentence. Okay. If there's something that I would give special mention to, maybe the 2 residential areas here. Okay, here in the northwest, large residential areas, and another here in the southeast. Okay, but for the rest of the buildings, I would just group them together into one sentence para hindi na mahirap. Okay, and then I might as well write it for you, sige, so that you can follow it more easily. So how to write the introduction? Okay, the figures, the illustration, the maps. You can say the illustrations present. So it's a town, diba? So the illustrations present the town or the layout. The layout of the town of Lakeside in 2000, or in year 2000 if you want, 2000 and 2009. There you go. That's your intro. And then the overview can be observed. Okay, I'm gonna give you some time to work on the overview now. Okay, so how would you classify Lakeside in 2000? Was it agricultural, commercial, or industrial? Type your answers in the chat box or in the comment box. So what do you think, guys? Let's see your answers. Thank you, Ram. Oh, no screen of my writing. Sorry. Thank you for reminding me. Let me share the report. There you go. Okay. Yeah, I'm writing the sample on the right side of the screen. Thanks for the reminder. Maybe I can enlarge this a bit. There. Okay. So I totally agree with you, Ram. Okay. Yeah, there's an industrial complex there, but it only forms a small part of the area. And what I notice is, there are a lot of large residential areas here in 2000. Again, of course, there are schools, and there's art center because people need that. Okay, so totally agree. I wouldn't really say that it's industrial. Maybe if there were, larger industrial complexes, I would say that. So residential lang ba? It can be observed that the area, okay, transformed from a residential town into what? Into a more wow, cinemas, offices, universities, shopping centers. You have factories, you have processing plants into a more commercial, to a more commercialized, into a more commercialized area. Yeah, I wouldn't even mention industrial again because industries are actually businesses also. They're also commercial establishments. Okay? And then I wouldn't want to say area twice. So gawin nating place. Okay, that this place, there you go. It can be observed that this place transformed from a residential town into a more commercialized area. You know what? You can actually say, you can say urbanized if you want. Pwede rin siya. Thank you, Roxanne. Okay. Erwin, I would avoid saying multi-purpose. Okay, because it's not really an official classification. Okay. Maybe you can say mixed classification. Pwede rin yun. Let me show you a second version so that you have options. And don't worry, later you will have a chance to do this yourself. I'm gonna give you time to write before I show my suggestions. Okay, so you can say the two maps present compare. You can say compare the town of Lakes later. Okay, but 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 this we're started, we're built. Parang hirap naman in the beginning, but later on it more commercial, and I'm gonna borrow from Roxanne and urbanize. There you go. That's a good one. Okay. There. So the next step is to count. So 2 sentences words, 231, and then our second version might be a bit longer. It's 2 sentences and 30 seconds. So nakafit siya. Right? Now let's move on to the second paragraph. Let me relabel. So let's call this let's call it P1A, and then this one is paragraph 1B. P1 version B. There you go. Para madaling sundan. Next, paragraph 2. So I always start with the year in 2000, and then paragraph you start with on the other hand. Patterns make it easier. So in 2000 there was. So why did I use the past tense here? Okay, because later on it will change it from a lake into a pond. Okay, there was a lake. Okay, in the northeast. So in 2000 there was a lake. Let's say that it was a large lake. There was a large lake, small pond. Okay, there was a large lake in the northeast. Okay, connected to the river, which flowed to the southwest. There. To the southwest. There, tapos na agad. So this divides the town into 2 halves, diba? So, you can say, sorry, that's not north. North of the river. Okay. North of the river were large. Ilan to? There are 2 of them. Okay. Was the town center, a school, an art center. What else? A derelict where? What does derelict mean? Derelict means it's old. Okay, it's falling into disrepair. It's not safe anymore. Okay, malapit na magiba. Isang bulate na lang tataob na. Okay? So, okay, a disused, let's call it disused. A disused warehouse and 2 large residential areas. Okay. On the other side of the river, to the south, okay, was an industrial complex and another residential. I don't want to say residential area anymore. Is there any other way we can say this residential area? Maybe you can say another, I don't know, large group of houses. So count. So how many sentences? We have 1, 2, and surprise, that's only 3 sentences. Okay, how many words? That's 60. 60 plus 31. We have 91 words, right? So how many more to reach 150? We just need 59. So you just aim for the same length as paragraph 2. Kasi nga ba ng paragraph 2, pwede na. Okay, so I'm gonna use on the other hand, just to make sure I'm gonna reach the word count. So it already gives me 4 words kasi. So on the other hand, On the other hand, and then you just focus on the changes, okay? So we don't need to mention the river, it didn't change, but mention the lake slash pond because it became smaller. On the other hand, um, on the other hand, 9 years later, the lake, okay, has been reduced kasi po lumiit, okay? Reduced to a, so on the other hand, 9 years later, the lake reduced to a small pond. There you go. Now, common part, okay? The residential area is still there, okay? But what changed? The derelict warehouse became a town center, okay? Was filled with offices and university. The art center became or nandun pa rin yung school, so no need to mention. With an X. Okay, so no need to mention the residential area. No need to mention the river. Okay. Part. This one. This one. Shopping center, the pond, and this one. There, you can actually do this on the paper. Okay. So let me continue writing. So on the other hand, the lake has been reduced to a small. Okay. Warehouse. The warehouse and the art center. Okay. Park. And in a movie theater. And then I'm gonna say respectively. Why that? But kaya lagay natin yun? Okay. Should we use respectively or should we just remove it? Respectively means in the same order. Okay, it means since I met there, it was replaced by the car park because the car park is also the I mentioned in, diba? And then, okay, later in the first part of the sentence, that means that the movie theater is the one that replaced it. That's the meaning of respect. Considered higher level vocabulary. Yan po. Okay. There. If you don't say, then, the reader might not know which one was replaced by the car park and which one was replaced by the movie by the movie theater. It clarifies, makes things easier to follow, right? And with that, and then what else? The old town. A university campus, okay? And office buildings were erected, were constructed, were built. Which one would you like to use, guys? Erected or constructed? Type your answer in the chat box. The old town center. Built, constructed. Which one will get you the highest score? You voted built, pwede naman. So is built the most academic among the three options I gave you? You can actually give me other samples if you can think of anything else. Okay, so I think I would say constructed, okay? And now, I've been overusing and siguro I'm going to use plus. Okay. Constructed in. Okay. The Old Town Center. There. We're done with that. And oh, the shopping center. Okay. The residential area near the river. Okay. Was converted. Did I use converted? Paano was converted? Was a shop center. And finally, finally, industrial complex and the residential area. Okay. Finally, the industrial complex expanded. Okay. And took over the residential area in the south. There you go. Right. However, you need to count. So how many were right for the third paragraph? 72 words. Okay, we were only talking, so that's a good number. However, how many sentences is this? 1, 2, 3, 5. So 5 would be too many for 79. It's better if it's just 4. Okay, because in general, you just divide the number of words by 20. So if you have 100 divided by 20, that's 5. So 5 sentences would be a good number. If you have like 79 or let's say 80, 80 divided by 20, that's 4, right? So ideally, this should be 4 sentences instead of 5. So maybe I can combine 2 of these sentences into just 1 sentence. So, maganda dito. Oh, okay. This one, the 2 sentences in the middle. A university campus plus some office buildings were constructed in the old town center, while the residential area near the river was converted to a shopping center. Now I have 4 sentences. That's perfect for my word count. Okay, so now it's 73. So 4 sentences and 73 words. Perfect. So I'm gonna give you a chance to ask questions now and to take a screenshot. So here you go. Just a reminder, you don't need to write 2 introductions, okay? You just need 1 of them. Take a screenshot and ask your questions. If you think it's easier to just use your voice to ask, you can turn on your microphones. I don't mind. Go. Time check, it's 10, almost 10. Okay, are you done? Done with the screenshots? Done with the questions? All right, so we have time for one more. This time, let's look for something that's a bit different, because they don't always use this kind of map. How about this one? Maybe we can use this. Okay, so last map for the evening. There you go. Let's zoom in a bit. There. So this one is a bit different Okay, because instead of looking at the layout of a, instead of looking at a big place like a town or a village or a city, now we only have one building. And in the past 2 years, okay, there has been an increasing number of IELTS tests that uses this one. Okay, mga floor plan. Okay, don't call it blue. Well, maybe you can call it a blueprint if you want. Okay, but the best word is floor plan. And a lot of people, again, have a very hard time describing it. But you know what? The good news is you just use the same methods I've been showing you. Okay. Oh, Ram, is it okay to use different spellings like center and center? Oh, did I? Let's take a look. Usually the rule is you can use any spelling that you like. You can use the British spelling or the American spelling. You just need to be consistent. Okay, so let's see. I used center here, centre, centre, centre. Did I use center? No, nothing there. Nothing there. Oh, this one, the art center. So let's replace this one, the art center. Yeah, this is why you should always take time to check, okay? Because thank you, Ram. So you can use British, you can use American, just be consistent. And to ensure this, make sure that you double check, okay, before the next part. All right, so let's go back to this chart. Okay, thank you, Divine. So the museum in 1957 and in 2007. Oh, so how many years is that? 2007 minus 1957, that's years, right? So guys, can you think of another way to describe 50 years? Words will get you a higher score from your examiner. Palitan natin yung 50 years. Ooh, let's see. Excellent. Okay, I received two excellent here. Instead of the years, you can just say 5 decades. So in 1957 and 5 decades later. A very good answer from Marvin is half a century. Now, Mr. Columbus gave me 2 scores in a decade. Oh my God. Wag na, wag na. That's funny. It's actually correct, but most people, this is an old way of saying it. Okay, it reminds me of the speech by Abraham Lincoln. Tama ba? 3 scores in a decade ago, our great country, blah 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 blah. So, Patrick, thank you for the nice. I enjoyed that one. Thank you for the nice suggestion, but I would stick to I would stick to half century and 5 decades because this is something that most people would understand. And ano na to, sir, panghenyo na tong binigay mo, pang upkat na to. Ayan. Tsaka pang asset na yan. Okay, maybe not for this type of this audience. Okay, pero wow, ganda ng vocab mo, ha? You have a very nice vocabulary. Okay, going back to the chart, okay, again, you just need to write one paragraph for 1957 and another paragraph for 2007. I think by this time it's becoming easier for you guys, no? So let's just write 3 paragraphs for now. So we have your paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and then your paragraph 3. Okay, paragraph 1 would be your intro. That's your overview, not opinion. Okay, intro plus overview. Paragraph 2 would be 1957. Paragraph 3, 2007. Okay. The intro is easy to write. You can probably do that by yourself now. Okay, so let's see. The chart, the figures, the maps, the illustrations. Okay. The figures compare. Okay. The layout of a museum. They didn't tell us the name. okay, of a museum, sorry, just a small letter M, of a museum. In 1957, they also didn't tell us where the museum is, right? We could have written of a museum in, I don't know, in Quezon City, or a museum, a museum in Alberta, or a museum in New York. Okay, unfortunately, we don't have any idea where this museum is located. In 1957, and half a century later, oh, this is a very nice start. Why? Because at the very beginning, you're able to show the examiner the extent of your vocabulary. Half a century, that's pretty advanced. Okay. Now, the more difficult, the more challenging part is the overview. Okay, because you cannot really classify this into residential, commercial, agricultural, or industrial. Okay, so can you make general comparisons, guys? What do you notice with the building on the left and the building on the right? Hmm. Let's talk about, and this again, I'm gonna give you time. Sorry to interrupt. So what's the main difference? Okay. Do you notice anything about the size? So what did they do to the museum after 50 years? Okay, thank you. That's an easy observation. Okay, so somebody told me that it was, so it grew, its size, it's bigger. Okay, maybe instead of just saying bigger, you can say expanded. Okay, that would be a more academic sounding word. So there was a building expansion. Okay, and there were fewer trees. Okay, which one is correct? Is it trees or less trees? When you're referring to the number, you use, well, to a specific number. Okay, if counted, then it's okay. If you are degree, maybe the size of the trees or the quality of the trees less. No, don't say less trees because you're saying that the trees are lower in quality. Less refers to quality, fewer refers to numbers. I would use fewer if I were. And we observe that the building or the or building na lang sige. That the building expanded. Why did they expand it? Well, we don't really know, but it's obvious that business is getting better. Maybe they receive more funding. Okay. Was expanded to accommodate. Okay. Why did I say that? Well, because it's a bigger building now. And then they actually built a shop. There was no shop before. They even have a cafe, so people are staying. And it's very noticeable that they now have a car park. It means that business is getting better. Okay? So it can be observed that the building was expanded to accommodate more visitors, or if you want, you can say to accommodate more business because it is a business, right? And that's your overview. How about the trees? The trees actually, they're more of a detail. Yeah, before, but you know, we're really talking about the structure, okay, the floor plan. The trees are just additional. So mention them in the body paragraph na lang, although it was a good observation. So before moving on, you do some counting. 2 sentences and 28. Maybe instead of more, you can say growing business there. So 2 sentences and 28 words. Paragraph 2, paragraph 3. Paragraph 2 in 1957. And then paragraph 3, a very good way to start would be, okay, 5 decades later. Why? Because we already used half a century there. Okay, so this time we're going to use 5 decades later. There you go. So alam na agad natin yung start. Okay, patterns, they make things easier. Okay. Oh, somebody's suggesting here, can we say the landscape was made smaller? No, when you say the landscape, you're referring to the whole thing. Okay, not only to the building, but the whole map. And the whole map didn't actually change in size. It's still the same size. Okay, Takashi says drastic changes were seen on the map. There were fewer, don't say lesser trees, fewer trees in the later year due to the expansion of the building and the appearance of the car park. This is too long for an overview. You don't want an overview that's very long or very detailed. Okay, details, okay, should be written in the body paragraph. Otherwise, you wouldn't have anything to write. Okay, that's another common mistake that I've seen through the years. It's been 16 years checking papers, and sometimes people are too excited. They write a very long paragraph one, and they almost can't say anything anymore in paragraph 2 and paragraph 3. Bad idea. Trabaho ng body ang mag-discuss ng detalye. Okay, so Takashi, maybe shorten this one. Okay, and then you can always write the other details in the body paragraph. Hope that helps. So in 1957, where should we start? Like what I've been advising you, just imagine that you're walking, or maybe you're riding your bike there. Okay, so that your descriptions would be natural and easy to follow. So I would start with the road. Okay, then I'd go up the walkway. Then I'm gonna say what's on the left, what's on the right, and then that one. Okay, and then same thing. Yan. Yeah, so you can actually draw on the map. If you want to use numbers, pwede rin. So number 1, I'm going to mention the road. Number 2, the walkway here. Number 3, this area. Maybe that one, 3, 4, and then finally 5. Oh, and of course the garden. Don't forget about that. That's 6. Okay. The road would be number 1, car park, number 2, 3. This would be my 4th area, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There. You can use numbers, you can use arrows, whatever helps you visualize whatever you're describing. Okay? Uy, salamat naman from Wena. Thank you for this informative lecture. Watching from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Ay, salamat po. My goal as a teacher is to make things easier for people. That's why I don't prepare PowerPoints or theoretical stuff. Gusto ko actual. This is how we teach in World English. Okay? So in 1957, by the way, they didn't indicate north, east, west, south, but you can actually do that. I already asked this from several examiners. If they don't indicate directions, you can still do it on your own. Okay? So that's the default po kasi. So north, south, west, and then east. Right on the paper. It's gonna make your job a lot easier. Okay? Medyo mahirap lang because I'm using a computer. But if you're using the pencil and paper, this would be a lot easier. Okay, let's get on to writing. Okay, in 1957, okay, the museum, there was in 1957, the main road, to the main road in the some direction in the south. Okay, opened into a path leading to the leading direction. Kailangan natin ng direction leading northwards. Okay, to the museum building. To the museum building. There you go. Okay. Okay, the entrance. So, syempre, naglalakad ka. Now, you come up to the entrance. The entrance, okay, was, okay, in the middle of the, was in the middle. Okay. The entrance, okay, which was, because it changed, kaya nag-past tense ako, located, okay, at the front of the building. Okay, syempre nasa front kasi entrance, at the center. Okay, at the center of the facade. Okay, not face of the facade. Okay. Opened into yun, the local history, ano to? Can't read, local history room to the left, and the museum storeroom to the right. Yun. So we're done with the opening. Then at the back of the building, was the national history exhibition. There you go. There. What's left? We forgot to talk about the gardens and the trees. Okay. There was a garden behind. So use words like this. At the back, behind, to the left, to the right, adjacent, across. There was a garden behind the building, together with many large trees all around, because they're all around there. So next step is to count. So how many words? 70 words, and how many sentences? 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. So 4-70. Okay. So just imagine that you're walking there. Okay. Here's a good question from Zeph. How do you pronounce it? Zeph LeBlanc. What's the connection to museum and business? Oh, a museum is a business because they charge fees, and also they're selling stuff. There's a shop, and then there's a cafe. So you pay money, for the drinks and for the food. That's how they earn their operating costs. Okay. And when you say accommodating business, this also refers to the number of customers or clients. So it is a business. Clears things up. Later, what happened? Oh. Mm-hmm. But because there were a lot of visitors, they had to build a car park. Okay. 5 years later, a large, let's call it a parking area. Large area was built to accommodate more. Wait. The footpath was footpath, and most of the were removed to make way. It's to make way, or make way for parking area. And don't need to write more visitors because the sentence is already too long. You don't want overly long sentence for a large parking area. Okay. I think it doubled in size, right? Is this double? It looks like double to me. So the building, okay, became almost double in size, and the entrance was moved to the to the left wing. There you go. And then what happened here? The garden was in the northwest. Yes, you can also say that, Mimi. Garden in the northwest of the lot. Pwede rin siya, no problem. Okay. So the entrance was moved to the left wing. Okay. Visitors the opening and the museum. I think I should connect that. The entrance was moved to the left wing and opened into the museum shop there. The museum shop. Okay. What's the next one? So we have the reception and cafe. Okay. Moving eastwards. Moving eastwards of the shop. The shop was the reception area, comma, followed by the new cafe there. Progressing nicely. Next. Moving deeper into the building. Wait, pangit. Sounds like like exploring a cave. No. After the reception area. Okay, past the reception area. There you go. Past reception. Past reception. Okay. So past tense tayo because it's 2007. We're the local history room. Special exhibitions, and the education center. Now, do I still need to mention the garden? Not really, because we only mentioned the things that changed, right? So if it didn't change, don't mention it. Okay. And how about the trees? We already mentioned the trees at the beginning of the report. So let's see if we reach the word count. Okay. So how many sentences is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And how many words? 69. I think there's something missing here. How do we finish? Diba? Lalagyan natin ng finally or lastly. Okay. Finally. Past reception or the local history room, the education center. Okay, so that's how many? 70 words. 4 sentences and 70 words. So what's the total? 70, 70. That's 140 plus 28. Okay, so that's what? 168. All right. So that's it. I'm done. So here's the chance for you to get a screenshot. There you go. Sige po. Would you like me to remove the markings on the map so that you can take a clear shot of it? Tanggalin ko ba? Or do I just retain them there? Okay, maybe both. So since you're done now, let me remove. Here you go. So you can see the map clearly. Take a picture. Okay na? Can I stop sharing? Let's just save that one. Okay. So those were just 3 samples of maps. Okay. The nice thing about our classes is every time we have lectures, okay, we try to use different maps. Same thing with our writing task 2 classes. We use different topics. Same thing with our speaking classes. We try not to repeat the same things over and over so that students can learn more. Okay, even if you try to even if you attend the same topics. Okay, so to end this session, I'm gonna give you some more information. So why choose world? Okay, because self-view isn't enough for higher levels. It's a good thing that we have social media, so you're getting a lot of information, so you can already fix your format. Okay? Just by number of IFNG, you can actually easily get ready, or maybe even in some areas like listening reads are easy. Okay, but the problem is you either need a 7 or maybe a 6 courses, and that's the challenge here. Okay, to get to the higher levels, watching videos of other people writing or their comments wouldn't be enough. Someone has to do your work. Okay. Secondly, if you have access to our teachers, that's myself and Sir Barry and some of our other excellent people. We are a small company. We are highly trusted. You can go in British Council, ask about us, okay, and try to see what they us. Okay? We provide daily guidance. We don't scam you. The review is only to we keep on asking you for more money. No, we're very honest when it comes to the payment. We're not the cheapest review center, right? Okay, but it's the quality. Yun po yung offer namin. That we offer a crash course for only 100. No, that's dubious. You won't learn English in one day po. Okay. Secondly, our company focuses mostly on one-on-one. Okay, so you can choose the teacher that you want to work with. You can choose the day where you go from Monday to Sunday po. You can ready at 7 a.m. as late as 11 in the evening. Another country you would like to review at, I don't know, 1 in the Philippines. Then just the manager, we will make a teacher. We're very flexible that way. And we focus one-on-one lectures. We do have groups, but we believe that you learn better if you and the teacher talking to each other. And you don't need to speak in English if you're we do understand. Okay, we're not in the same situation. Next. Okay. Oh, we do have a discount for the members of this group. Okay. You can receive a 500 peso if you enroll in our IELTS course until July 25 instead of for 799 for 299. It involves about 108 hours, okay, of interactive lectures, drills, and one-on-one coaching. Okay, next slide. By the way, if you learned something, if you like our style of writing, I've actually written books on writing task 1 and writing task 2. In fact, let me show you a sample. Okay, here you go. The first chart I showed you actually came from my book here. Okay, so it's about almost 80 pages. Okay, so pie charts, line graphs, bar graphs, tables. Okay, I have flow charts here, and of course maps. There's at least 4 of each type, and they already come with sample answers, a writing guide, vocabulary. Okay, and well, yeah. So you won't need to guess. because it already contains model answers for you to follow. Ayan. Okay, if you're interested in purchasing, just contact our numbers and our manager will help you out with it. We will print it for you and send it to you via courier. And it also contains answer sheets already. And we will print it with a plastic cover and with your name on it. Okay. PDF, we want to be very careful about PDFs because, some of my work has been pirated in the past. I see it popping up in other people's websites. And since you're taking the paper-based test anyway, it's better to write. So right now we're not selling the PDF. Actually, we print it out, okay, so that you can actually draw on the map. You can draw your arrows. You can make your notations because that's what's going to happen in the test. Okay. So if you have questions, if you want to purchase one, if you want discounts for it, okay, I have collections of task 1 and task 2. Okay, so instead of coming up with all of these essays on your own, may nakasulat na, babasahin nyo na lang. Right? Next, what else do I need to tell you? Oh, by the way, for those people who are looking for a job in the States, if you want to work in New Jersey, we actually have a partner, okay, Town, and they reimburse the NCLEX exam, the IELTS exam. They pay for your visa screen. They provide your one-way ticket to the US, and they will help you, okay, with accommodation. Ililibre na lang 1 month ninyo. If you're interested in this job opening, take a screenshot because I don't have much time left. If you want to read this in detail, screenshot nyo na. Okay, and then you can contact us if you're looking for a job in the United States, especially in New Jersey. Marami matitipid yung pera dito. Okay, and we're gonna have this company as a guest tomorrow. Okay, in our free, I have a free IELTS class tomorrow together with Sir Barry. If you're interested in attending, pakilagay na lang yung link. Okay, oh, Nigel, yeah, I don't know why they did that. I have to clarify that with them. Okay, so if you're interested in attending our free IELTS class tomorrow, we'll be providing the link here in the chat box and on the, pwede ba naming sirs, moderators, can we post the link for tomorrow's free class on your
Sure.
group page? Pwede?
Sure, sir.
Sige.
No worries.
Yes.
All right. Sige po. So, thank you very much. For those who are under town, baka gusto nyo lumipat sa amin. Joke lang. So, maraming salamat po. That's it for me. Okay. Any final words from our moderators?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much again. And like what Gladys said, we will share your live for tomorrow on our page too. On our page, FB page. Yes.
Oh, sige, send na lang namin sa iyo.
And nag-agree ako kay sir na kailangan natin talaga ng expert when it comes to writing. Especially sa mga members na aiming for UK. And
Right,
we need to invest para sa future naman natin yan.
Sa totoo lang, mahirap maganap ng na magaling na writing teacher because I receive a lot of applications, mga instructors, pero yeah, a lot of applicants get like 8 in their listening and reading, pero writing, I rarely get people who are more than 7, and usually 7 yung highest. So, and I don't hire people who only got 6.5. I don't think they should be teaching yet. Maybe in the future when they get better.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think
Right, so
that's
I
it
think
for
that's
now.
it.
So everyone,
Thank you, Sir DJ.
if you love this session, please type or comment hashtag where with you.
We're with you, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
On
See
Tuesday,
you.
we have another hashtag. Okay. By the way, Sir DJ,
Yes.
we're looking forward to your lecture tomorrow.
Mhm.
So we will just wait for the link so that we will post it to our page. Okay?
Yeah, sige. Sham or sino ba yung staff na kasama ko? Charlotte or Sham? Can you please send the link for tomorrow's free class to our moderators so they can share it? Pakisend na ngayon.
Thanks. Okay, so thank you, sir. We will just check it on the GC. We have
Yes.
GC.
All right. Maraming salamat
Okay,
po.
so
That's it for me.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good night.
Good night.